Welcome, everyone, to Southwest Day. We did some finagling, and we have a 12-race card. The sun is shining. Very happy to be joined by Andy Biancone and our track announcer, Matt Dinnerman. We come off a really good day yesterday as we return to the opening day of the Classic meet. And looking at the results and the charts from yesterday, it was a little bit speed favoring yesterday.
It was. I think that we're going to see sort of that trend early in the card, I think, today because of the weather. It's warmed up a little bit. So unless there's a little more water in the track, I think we might see that trend early in the card. Later in the card, it could change. Usually if you see a track change, it's usually later in a card versus earlier in a card. But we saw the speed holding well, and especially today with high-quality horses, the late, great Dwayne Lucas, Bob Baffert, they've made it so that really the way we train now to keep up with all the top barns, you got to have good speed. You don't usually see the Zenyatta types of the world winning big races. Usually horses with speed do. So we're going to see quality horses that have speed. I expect them to run well. Yeah,
a lot of full fields. So let's go ahead and get things underway. Let's take a look at our weather page. Very happy to see that the sun is shining. A fast track and winds out of the west-northwest at 5 miles per hour. We do have sunny skies, and the temp is currently 51 degrees and will go up from there. Yesterday, the high was projected for today at 77 degrees. So very happy. If you don't like the weather today, wait till tomorrow, and I'm sure it will change. We get all 4 seasons in about a week here at Oaklawn. So let's go ahead and transition to our news page, as some connections had a very good day yesterday as Thursday riding doubles for jockey Rafael Bejarano and Luis Saez. Team Asmussen on a hot roll for the Classic meet, scoring a triple. That's between Steve and Eric in the irons, and also a very good stakes day yesterday. We saw Will Take It taking the 5th season. Also, it was an extra sweet victory as that specific win gave Ricardo Santana his 800th Oaklawn victory. Make sure you listen for your name after race 7. You might get a chance to win $2,000. 5 names will be called for that $10,000 second chance drawing, and we do have a Classics carryover of more than $20,000 that starts later in the card. Hit Parade is favored in the Martha Washington, and Decode is going to step up in today's feature. The Southwest, a $1 million purse, 42 total points awarded towards the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby. And just make a note that tomorrow and Sunday we will have a noon first post. So lots going on. It seems like we crammed 2 weeks worth of stuff into one big weekend, and I like it. That's the way to do it.
Yes, I agree. So much going on, and I'm just overwhelmed with excitement because we have just a jam-packed day, and it does not start. We still have tomorrow and Sunday, lots of stakes and a lot to catch up on.
Yes, very exciting. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and get underway, get this party rolling. Race number 1 is for 3-year-olds. Maiden claiming $75,000 is the purchase price, going 1 mile in distance. Looks like we're going to find out if the Mark Casse barn is going to stay hot, as he does send out Reckless in the opener. Andy, we'll start with you ladies first.
All right, I decided to go for a little bit of a price horse here in race number 1. I'm taking the number 8, Wicked Gun. I think last time out just had a brutal trip. A lot of traffic into the first turn, was pulling the entire time. Granted, you know, that was against the same type of company, but I think with Lasix, blinkers off, the experience routing, and hopefully just a cleaner trip into the first turn. We talked about this on your podcast, Matt. I feel like that is just the Oaklawn kiss of death if you go wide into that first turn. So I feel like that's very much the case with the number 8, Wicked Gun. From there, I have the number 6, Candy Cane Crane for Kenny McPeak. I thought a good third last time out. The 2, Prime Suspect for Aaron Shorter. I kind of like the stretch out in distance, just given his pedigree. And I've got the 12, Reckless for Mark Casse, first time gelding, and adds Lasix as well.
Matt, it looks like you're going to the, I like to call it the Aaron Shorter barn for the opener. And Christian Torres looking to get off to a hot start today as well.
If you like Key and Peele, you know exactly what Nancy's talking
Be
about.
Nice.
Prime Suspect is my pick. You know, this horse actually tried routing one time. This is a route race here and did not run well at all. But it was in a maiden special weight, also on synthetic. I've seen it at Golden Gate. Some horses, they love synthetic. Others are fine with dirt and synthetic, and some just really like the dirt. This horse has run well on the dirt, including last time time out for maiden 50, ran second, and he didn't have a good trip. I thought he could have been best that day. From behind the speed, was searching for racing room, eventually found a Seaman, ran second. By Medaglia de Oro out of a Curlin mare, I think that this horse here is going to run pretty darn well going the route game on the dirt.
Yeah, great way to start off the 12-race card. Race number 2 is for 4-year-olds and up, either non-winners of 3 or non-winners of a race since July 1st. $10,000 is the purchase price, and they will contest a mile and a 16th. Do want to take note, we did have multiple scratches out of here, taking out numbers 4, 5, 7, and 14. So a few scratches out of this one, but still nonetheless, you know, Matt, I like to call this the meat and potatoes of the industry. What are your thoughts here for the second?
It absolutely is. And you want to talk about a bunch of hard knocking claimers here that just try really hard every race. My top pick in this race, we're going to go to the middle of the field. One Cool Dude who was third last time out in a restricted 12-5 race. This horse had an absolutely horrendous start, stumbled all the way to the nose to the ground, and lost quite a few lengths there. And this horse likes to sit a little bit closer than what he had to do last time, which is come from well off the pace. The pace was fast, so we got a pace to run into, but he ran on for third, and I thought that was a better than looked effort. So we're looking for him to improve for the Jordan Blair barn. I know, Andy, you know Jordan Blair from Kentucky. Very underrated horseman. He does a good job.
Yeah, he certainly does. His horse has always looked fantastic, and he's super sharp. But I'm with you, Matt. I took the number 6, One Cool Dude, on top here. Like you said, brutal trip last time out, stumbled so badly, and still showed up.
You have to respect that a horse can overcome that type of thing, because that to me is where heart comes into play for sure.
We saw that a few times yesterday.
Yes.
You know, We'll Take It coming up the rail, an Air of Defiance. We saw some great yesterday.
Unbelievable stretch runs. And if you're just a novice fan, that will make you a true fan when you see horses 3-4 across really coming at the wire. And they love, some really do thrive on the duel and won't, just refuse to let a horse get in front of them. So I love that spirit that we've got here. Race number 3 is for Arkansas breds, 3-year-olds and up, a second level allowance. Others in for the claiming price of $50,000, and they will sprint 6 furlongs in distance. Did have a scratch of the number 8 Strike Ridge, so it still leaves a pretty decent field of 9. Andy, what do you think here for these Arky breds?
I took the chalk here. I went with the 4 Getting By. Feel like even if he regresses quite a bit off that big effort off the layoff, he still kind of walks over this field. And even though we ran a big number off the layoff, I don't think he regresses, because we did miss some training here. You know, we had a couple of days off, so I do think he has recovered well and is able to maybe have a repeat performance.
Matt, we've seen kind of the Jacobson barn get off to a little bit of a slow start through the holiday meet, but obviously you think he's going to pick up here.
I think so. I mean, I feel like this horse, as Andy mentioned, even if he slows down a little bit, that last race was an unbelievably big effort against Open Company. If I were to make prop bets here, and I were to make a prop bet of what kind of buyer he was going to get, I wouldn't necessarily expect him to get a 90 buyer or over again like he did last time out. Going to be really hard to duplicate that race, but again, he doesn't need to. So Getting By, he's got the target on his back as the one to beat. I don't think he's unbeatable if he runs to his sort of C race, but I think if he runs his B or A race, he's off his last run the best runner in here.
Well, Matt, race number 4 brings one of our favorite horses back this afternoon. Hard-knocking 11-year-old Payne returns for new connections today off the $30,000 claim as he looks for his 14th career victory. Absolutely love this horse. He just never gives up.
I mean, this horse, he's the type of horse that I'd love to see him in a paddock at Old Friends when he's done
Exactly.
it. He's earned it. And all of these horses have earned good retirements, as we've mentioned, and we have that Ring the Bell program for that reason, 100%. I have a hard time. My heart has a hard time playing against him. I picked him second. I'm going to try to beat him. I do think last time out, he didn't break particularly great, and he only lost by 3 parts of a length. He ran a huge race last time. I'm expecting him to run well again. But my top pick in this race is going to be a little bit of a better price, Runaway Jack. I just think last time this horse as well also did not break well, was last away, was farther off the pace than he usually is. He comes from off the speed. There's going to be some pace in here to run into as well. Second start off a layoff for Mac Robertson, whose numbers always seem to be better second start in the form cycle. So I'm going to take a shot with him, hopefully with a better trip. His best numbers stack up with these.
Andy, you're going to go with 6-1 on the morning line. I like the fact that the last time this horse saw the winner's circle, it was in for the tag.
Yes, and I like that Mike Maker tends to run his horses pretty aggressively, and I like that he has liked Iglesias enough to step him up in class, but now drops back to where he's been competitive in the past. So I just think this is a great spot for Iglesias. I like the outside post with the speed he has, and he's got a win here at Oaklawn Park.
Race number 5 is featuring maiden allowance runners, 3-year-olds, 6 furlongs. Could be some future stakes horses out of this one, and some very pricey sale purchases, including Louis Sella, our president and owner, and Dave Portnoy's first-time starter. There's been a lot of buzz in the industry about that. He's a $400,000 sale purchase, first-time starter today. And what do you think against this group, Andy?
Oh my gosh. Well, his workout pattern just speaks for itself. I always say if a horse can work 47 from the gate, they're ready to face maiden special weight competition. With that being said, I decided to go with a little bit of a wise guy play. Not that I wouldn't be elated if Silver Syndicate got the job done, but I thought the number 3 Baby Vino was just a little bit interesting. Was quite a good price on debut for Lindsey Schultz, but I just like that he comes in with experience, and I thought his run last time out against Open Maiden Special Weight Company was good enough, and I decided to take him on top.
Yeah, you and I are thinking alike, but you are going to go with Silver Syndicate. What is it you like about this first-timer, Matt?
Well, he was my clocker pick of the week on out of the starting gate with Andy Biancone, our special guest. You can go to YouTube to watch that. We got all sorts of good analysis for a lot of today's races. I think this horse is a very nice horse. I think he can run. I think he's going to like to stretch out a little bit, but I feel he has natural speed as well. He worked twice out of the gate. The first time he was a little slow out of the gate. Last time he still broke a tad slow, but he was better. I think that's the biggest obstacle. I think talent is there to win first out. I think conditioning-wise, when I watched his gallop out, he's plenty fit for this race into his first start. The question I have now inheriting the inside is we have a scratch of number 1 unauthorized, and knowing that he was a little bit slow out of the gate, hopefully he can break, and if he does, get in a good rhythm and run his race.
Yeah, very excited to see this group go to the track. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to dissect all 4 stakes. We'll be right back.
Experience the excitement of horse racing with Oaklawn Anywhere. If you're an Arkansas resident, you can watch and wager on horse racing from around the globe, whether you're at home or on the go, with any smartphone, laptop, or tablet, anytime, anywhere. Download the free Oaklawn Anywhere app and register for a sign-up bonus. With access to past performances, live video, race replays, and expert handicapping data, you're always in the know with no subscription fees. Bet online anytime with Oaklawn Anywhere, exclusively available to Arkansans. Right, Max? Oaklawn Anywhere. Our season never ends. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Mardi Gras is coming to Oaklawn, and your swipe might just crown you king of the winnings. It's simple. Swipe, enter, and join the parade of prizes in our Mardi Gras giveaway. With double entries on Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays, plus single entries on Saturdays. Chase the beads, the bets, and the big wins from your swipe to the final Mardi Gras celebration on Saturday, February 14th, where 4 winners will each take home $100 race bet after races 1 through 6. The party rolls on after race 7, where 1 winner will capture the crown, a trip to New Orleans. The parades, the prizes, the party. It's all here at Oaklawn, where Mardi Gras meets winning. So let the good times roll.
They're off in the southwest. Speed King holding on. Sandman trying to dive after him, but it's going to be Speed King in a superb effort. He took him all the way with all the pressure.
And we are back on the Southwest edition of Oaklawn Today. We could potentially see the Kentucky Oaks and Kentucky Derby winner on today's program. But first, ladies, get the stage for 3-year-old fillies. 42 total points on the line towards the starting gate in the Kentucky Oaks that first Friday in May. And they're going to contest a mile and a 16th. We do have a field of 8, and the bulk of the field is hoping to score right back after a victory last go. Andy, what do you think about the Martha Washington this year?
I kind of took the chalk here. I think the 6 Hit Parade for Brad Cox have been impressive in all her recent starts. She's got the speed. She can sit a nice forward trip. She's proven at the 2 turns. Wasn't crazy about the drift last time down the lane at the fairgrounds in the Untappable. But with that being said, the fairgrounds has such a long stretch. So I think she may have just got a little tired, a little leg weary, a little bit lost. Hopefully here at Oaklawn Park, where we have a more normal size stretch, I would say, she'll fare better. But I like that she's been training at the fairgrounds and that Brad Cox ships her in.
Yeah, a lot of the horses here, as you know, did lose some serious training because of the snow and the ice. But Matt, I see you're going to go to Counting Stars, who is a easy victor in the year's end.
You know, it's really hard to go from one big stakes effort, wheeling back in 13 days, changing things up, going a mile, and running even better, and that's what she did. And she looks like a type of filly just physically, even though she can sprint, obviously, that she would want to route, and she did beautifully. And I thought she looked better routing than sprinting, believe it or not. So I think she could be a star, and I'm putting my foot down saying she is more than just a minor stake grade 3 type of talent. I think she could be a grade 1 type of horse down the line.
Yeah, it's a very interesting edition of the Martha Washington for those 3-year-old fillies. But between races, race number 7 is for 3-year-olds and up, a maiden allowance at 1 mile and a 16th. Now, it's not often that you see an even money on the morning line, but that seems to be the case with Silver Prince. Looks like Ron Moquette could have a very, very productive day. Matt, what do you think here?
He could, and we see a lot of the bigger name trainers, so to speak, on these big days. They come swinging because they got good quality, and a lot of eyes are on us today, so that helps the business as well. I'm actually very much against this horse today.
Oh, interesting.
Like we had a player fade segment, Andy and I, on Out of the Starting Gate. He would be an absolute fade for me. I think this horse last time out, he was 28-1, ran second to Decode. He ran a good race, and we've already seen a couple next out winners out of that race, but he hasn't worked since that last race. It's been about a month, and usually when a horse runs big at a big number, I try to beat him next time because you question how well meant were they. I'm trying to beat him altogether, although I do think he will like the route game based on his pedigree and based on how he runs. I picked Owe on top. This horse I thought ran a really respectable second time out for Chris Davis to a horse named Our Magical Moon, is a major player in an allowance race tomorrow. Owe in this spot here, 3rd start in the form cycle. Chris Davis's horses, numbers-wise, they get a little bit better each race. They're youngsters in that outfit. So Owe with Christian Torres, I'm going to take a swing with him.
Well, Andy and I both land on that even money favorite, Silver Prince, who is a $450,000 sale purchase. For some reason, that I'm always intrigued by. I love that the form posts those sale prices. You don't get a little ROI on a lot of the runners sometimes, but I think Silver Prince could be the real deal.
Yes, and I picked him as my top pick. I think, as Matt said, the pedigree is there. He's by Cairo Prince out of a Harlan's Holiday mare. So I think the route game is his game, especially given the way he broke a little slow, made up a lot of ground on debut. And I think it helps that he gets Lasix for the first time as well. I know, maybe he hasn't worked a ton since that last race, and we've had that bit of a break, but the first time Lasix can help with that because it just makes them a little bit lighter.
We kind of spoke about this yesterday, Matt and I, coming back off of not only the hiatus, but also then dealing with the weather. How much of a push do you put towards your handicapping against horses that had to stay here and the trainers that got out to go to the fairgrounds? Did that play into your decision making?
Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely have a lot of horses that shipped in from the fairgrounds. But with that being said, it really all comes down to the individual horse. I mean, some horses actually appreciate a little bit of time off and a little bit of a break, and others really suffer from it. But it just really depends on the individual.
Yeah, we're certainly going to find out what trend does continue. We have 2 overnight stakes on the Southwest card. First, let's take a look at race number 8. This is set to go 1 mile and an 1/8. 4-year-olds and up in the General MacArthur, and do have a couple scratches of the 1, 2, and 9 who are out of this field. But Matt, let's start with you. What are your thoughts here on the General MacArthur, the second running, by the way?
Yeah, I picked Sir Greyland in here. There was maybe talk that he might wait for an allowance race tomorrow. That is not the case. He's running in this race here, and I think he's the best horse in the race, and I think he'll do well. I know he's 0 for 2 going 1 mile and an 1/8. His better races, at least on the win end, have come going 1 mile and a 16th, but he ran very respectable going the 9 for a long distance, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. He's got a little more tactical speed than the other main contenders in here other than First Division. I think Sir Greyland is very well spotted by Kenny McPeak here.
Andy, here's a classic example of a horse that has been training down at the fairgrounds, didn't miss a beat, as you're going to go with a nice price with Energize. I like it.
Yes, Energize, my top selection here. 2 runs going 1 1/8 miles, 1 win, 1/3. Last time out, I thought his effort at Turfway Park was very credible. Finished 3rd behind Anagata and Final Gambit, but I like him getting back to the dirt. I like that Luis Saez gets back on a board, and I like that he's been working at the fairground, so he's going to be my top pick here.
Yeah, love that last work. 3rd out of 105 half-mile workers, 48-2. So I like to see that. So a very good edition of this year's General MacArthur Stakes. As we look on to race number 9, this is a first-level allowance, 4-year-olds and upward, going 6 furlongs. A very competitive group, a decent amount of speed as well, and could maybe set up for some closers. Andy, what do you think in this first level?
I took the number 5, Vital Mind. I just love this horse. He is a fantastic physical specimen. Like, if I could picture a perfect sprinter, it'd be him. He's just so well put together, so powerful. Obviously, very well bred, the first foal of She's a Julie. But 3rd start off the bench, and I like that he's been improving with each run. And he's kind of versatile. He shows speed, but he's game enough to come from off the pace. And I like that Jose Ortiz gets back aboard.
Yeah, I don't mind some of the older, lightly raced horses because they seem to be a little bit more consistent. Matt, I think you agree on this one.
Yeah, he ran second to a horse, Stiglitz, who ran a hole in the wind. He got a 107 Beyer the winner that day. So, I mean, if you're going to lose to anybody at this level, it's unfortunate you're losing to Stiglitz, because if you run second, you're running a pretty darn good effort. Just second best to a horse that ran a stakes type of race. So Vital Mind, I wouldn't think there are any Stiglitz type of performances in here. So I'm thinking that Vital Mind this time is going to get it done here. Very nice horse, purchased for $600,000. I've been very patient with him, but he has improved every single start he's run.
A great edition of the Bugler is race number 10. This is fillies and mares sprinting 6 furlongs, and a pretty interesting group. We've got a lot of experience in here, and some have a little bit more consistency than others, we shall say. So, Andy, what do you think about the Bugler?
This was one of the more difficult races for me because I feel like it's a really even group across the board. Came down to very minute details. I took the 8 Blue Fire, mostly because she's been training at the fairground. So she's not missed a lot of training. She's got speed. She's been beating up against state bred company. So I absolutely think she deserves a chance against open company here.
Yeah, you love when there's the push with those barns. They get really confident, and sometimes that is displayed in the entries. Matt, what do you think about Foie Gras? I'm not a fan of Foie Gras, but I am of the horse.
Well, this horse is certainly putting up good performances as of late. She's won 2 in a row, and I look at Mike Maker's training pattern. You know, after her last race in which she won the Oaklawn Anywhere, she went 47, got a bullet there, 47, got another bullet the next week. Mike Maker isn't one to really train like that, so that's telling me she's doing it on her own. Now, she's taken a little break from, as Andy mentioned, training here due to that weather. But Mike Maker going the old school way here. 3 days ago, let her work 3 furlongs, and she went a sharp 36. So she's got speed. Obviously, I think she's going to be just fine fitness-wise. I scratched into her. She was my second pick behind the horse who scratched Hush It Honey. But I have this feeling, I've always liked her. I think she's going really in the right direction.
Yeah, my top, I did as well scratch into my top selection. I thought Hush It Honey was going to be extremely live today.
Yeah,
so maybe
so
put that
I.
in your notes to keep an eye on the entries for when she does return. All right, it's time. The $1 million Southwest, that grade 3 event, 3-year-olds for a purse of $1 million. So a very interesting group. Some making the stakes debut after just coming off maiden scores. And as you can see, we did have 2 scratches in the field. So take note, the number 5 litmus test is out. Baffert only shipped 1 in, as well as the number 10 Bricklin is also out. So 42 total points. Multiple graded stakes place. Butane looks to give Hall of Fame Bob Baffert his 7th Southwest victory. He doesn't come in unless he thinks he has a legitimate shot. So, Andy, what do you think about this year's running of the Southwest? And could a horse in this field be our Arkansas Derby winner?
I absolutely think so. I think this is a very good group all across the board. It made my job very difficult. I'm pretty excited to see what they look like in the paddock because that'll really help me make a concrete decision. But I did take the number 9 Strategic Risk as my top pick. I just loved this horse in the paddock and the Smarty Jones. He was by far the best. Him and his stablemate who's back in the Southwest here, the 11, Silent Tactic. They both looked great in the Smarty Jones, but he's just a beautiful horse, thick neck, great presence, very intelligent head on him. So I decided to take him as a topic.
I love that. And Matt, you're going to go for a little bit of a price with the McPeak barn. I like it.
Yeah,
they have a little bit of good luck with the Southwest.
They've had a lot of good luck. And you talk about history of the Southwest. This horse really reminds me of Mystic Dan, a horse that seems to be going in the right direction. Yep. Mystic Dan, though, I will say he was a little more right off the bat sprinty, just very flashy. This horse, not quite as much. I thought his maiden win 2 starts ago was very visually impressive. Last time out, I don't think he comes out of the strongest race in the Gun Runner at the fairgrounds, but I do think he was the best horse. I think he got a rough trip, probably should have won. And I think that he's really primed to run a good race here. I'm more concerned not necessarily with his talent, but the track profile, because if it plays like it did yesterday, he might have a little bit of a tougher time getting to those leaders, but I'm hoping that it's going to fare out today. And the fact of the matter is, I do believe this horse is probably, in my opinion, Kenny McPeak's best 3-year-old on the trail, and he's got a few of them. I really like him.
Handicapping this one, I had like 6 horses I liked on top and just had to like cut and paste away from them. Let's talk about Bob Baffert's contender real quickly. Butane was second in the Hopeful at Saratoga, immediately off of that maiden allowance win, and then comes right back to run second again in the San Vicente. He's got luck because he didn't have to miss any training as well, even though they've had a couple days of cancellations out at Santa Anita because of rain. But yeah, Butane, what do you think? Could he possibly give Baffert another victory?
I think it's a possibility for sure, but it's interesting. The 2 Southwest I've called here, he's brought Gaming and Winstock, and both times they underperformed. His better 3-year-olds as of late have come in the Rebel and the Arkansas Derby. I don't think he's his best 3-year-old on the trail. Maybe he doesn't need to be. Route-wise, he's got the pedigree. 3 of his 6 siblings were routers, even though the dam was a sprinter. He sort of runs like a horse that could benefit going longer because he's a little bit more of a steady speed type of horse in sprints versus the horses of Bob's that are really good, that really have a huge kick. And going to the route, his style, I think, could help him. I'm going to try to beat him today because I don't think he's necessarily Bob's best 3-year-old, but he's got some ability for sure, and his numbers stack up.
There's been a lot of backside talk about Decode, who was very impressive on debut. Mind you, that was also at 6 furlongs. Wired the field, scoring by more than 8 as the favorite. We did a feature on Ray Ashford, and he said they were confident that he was going to win, but not how impressively he did it. That kind of shocked the barn. So is going to not only stretch out, but also step up in class. And I talked to Ray yesterday, and he said, we took him to the gate, we stood him, just kind of following the paces to get a horse ready for a big event like this. Andy, you've got a phenomenal eye in the paddock. I always love what your comments are. From seeing Decode, how difficult is it, especially you having been on the backs of many of these animals, how difficult is it to go from a sprint first time out to going 1 mile and a 16th second time out?
I think it really depends on the horse. I think there's actually kind of a huge misconception that it's difficult to go 2 turns on debut or et cetera. But I think some horses actually have an easier time routing. And Decode may very well be one of those horses, but he's going to have to be able to relax. Last time it was a gate-to-wire effort. Nobody contended him. He is going to have to show a different dimension of himself, whether that means rating a little bit, or if he just needs to run them off their feet. It's going to be kind of interesting to see what kind of horse Decode actually is. I did get a look at him in the barn the other day, and he certainly looks more like a Twirling Candy type than a Spitestown type, so very much resembles the dam side. And he looked great in the barn, but they've definitely been very high on this horse. Ray Ashford said that even as 2-year-olds, I think they had the half to Nisos, and this was before they even went to the sale, and Decode was constantly kicking his butt. So, yeah,
that's a good thing. Put that in your handicapping notes. Kicks butt. So,
and not an embarrassment for the half to Nisos.
No,
because Decode obviously is a very fast, good horse.
Yes, very excited to see these horses in the paddock, and a lot of times, we did start out with a field of 14. It is now down to still a full field of 12, but very excited to see the winner awarded these points towards the Kentucky Derby. So I always get super excited about Southwest Day. So let's go ahead and round it out. Race number 12. This is for 4-year-olds and up, a 12-5 starter, and they're going to route 1 mile and an 1/8 in distance. It's a very solid group to wrap up the 12-race program. Andy, what do you think about the nightcap?
I think it's a pretty stacked race. I took the number 12 Money Run as my top selection. It was really tough because I love Eastside Cool. I feel like I paddock pick him every single time he runs, and especially since Randy has had him, he just looks in phenomenal form. So keep in mind, I do have the 12 Money Run as my top selection, but it was very tough between him and the 10. But I did take a stand with Money Run just because he's been kind of kicking butt at that starter allowance condition. He liked the outside post last time. He certainly has speed to manage it, and I do think he's able to maybe repeat a similar effort as last time.
Matt, what are your thoughts here in the nightcap? I see you're going to go with the number 2. Another good price for you. Kevin Martin legging up Christian Torres with the number 2, Bright Spark.
You look at the class of this horse. He's been running for 5,000 and 10,000 and winning for fun in those races. But remember last year, before those 2 races, he had taken a layoff. And before that layoff, he was running at these kinds of levels and was very competitive and very good. So when I saw him in for $5,000 at Indiana, my jaw sort of dropped a little bit because he runs like he's worth a lot more than $5,000. Now, Kevin Martin claimed him for $10,000. And that was such a suspicious drop for $5,000. Nobody even claimed him out of the race because they were like, what's this about? But this horse has won back-to-back good races. He loves Oaklawn, 3 for 4. 8-1, I don't think we're going to get it, but maybe with that class perspective in mind, you might. I'm going to pick him here. I'm hoping that he's the same type of horse as last year, and his numbers say maybe not quite, but not very far off either.
We are all excited to see the 3-year-old fillies and the 3-year-old colts and geldings in today's feature events. I want to fast forward a little bit to tomorrow. I'm very excited about the running of the Grade 3 Bayakoa and Nitrogen from the barn of Mark Casse. Super excited to see her. She's so cool in the stall and just loves to get loved on. But I think when she comes out here to the track, she knows it's game day and she's got a heart of gold. What are your thoughts on Nitrogen for tomorrow?
I just don't have enough praise for Nitrogen. I mean, I often forget. I know she was 3-year-old champion filly, but I often forget she's 3 years old because she ran so well against older horses, older mares in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. And not only that, but campaigned all summer long. She danced every dance, turf, dirt, off the turf, slop, everything. And she just shows up every single time. So I am so looking forward to seeing Nitrogen.
Matt, what about you for tomorrow's feature?
Well, whenever you see a star come into the grandstand, there's just that special little feeling and aura they have about them when they come in. It's like meeting a celebrity, sort of. The horses are. I don't get starstruck by humans, but I
say the same thing. Same thing. I'll see a filly in the paddock and I'll just fangirl completely over these horses.
Last year. I mean, the paddock was full of people taking pictures, and I'm sure we're going to get some of that tomorrow. One thing that's amazing about Nitrogen, in my opinion, she's this classy. She might actually be better on the grass. Like, that's how good she is. Like, she can run in the best dirt races, and she still has shown just as much kick on the grass. She is all class. It's hard to be that good on any surface, never mind 2 of them. So
well, it's interesting because this wasn't the original target. So they said she's doing so well, we're going to go ahead and run her in the Bayakoa and not wait for the Azeri. So I'm sure after being forced to stay in the barn and just shed row, she's ready to get out on the track and really stretch her legs in the afternoon. So go down Mark Casse shed row. It's stakes winner after stakes winner after stakes winner.
Not
so
a bad position.
Not a bad position. And we did do a feature with Mark Casse's assistant trainer, Caden Arthur, kind of talking about their really good event or turnout at the holiday meet and what it can mean going into the classic season. So when a trainer has that much good things happening to the barn, it's hard to keep that momentum going because a lot of times there's peaks and valleys in horse racing, and right now they are on the peak of peaks. So Andy, what does it take to kind of keep that momentum going? I know a happy barn makes happy horses too.
Yeah, absolutely. Good vibes. The vibes are everything in horse racing. I know that sounds weird, but so much of it is intuition and feel, and that's not always something you can see on past performances. It takes a lot of horsemanship. It takes a lot of listening to your horses on a day-to-day basis. But you know, I just think, like you said, Nancy, happy, healthy horses, good teamwork, keeping that momentum going. That's really the main thing.
Yeah, you're starting to see horses really dapple out as we get a little bit further out of winter. Matt, has there been one horse in the last couple of days or even at the holiday meet that really caught your eye that you want to remember?
Well, Decode. I mean, when he ran the way he did, I thought that was awfully impressive. And I just think when you think about his maiden win, it was pretty spectacular. It was like a cornucopian type of win, which we saw last year. That was probably the most impressive horse that I've seen here. I think that, man, just off the top of your head, it's hard to name just one.
Yeah.
Because there's probably 6 and 10 of them
There's
around
so
here.
many. Annie, when you're in the paddock, what are some, like, Matt and I have to present our picks 24 hours before the races. Sometimes my top pick might come in the paddock and I'll go, ooh, maybe not so much. But, I mean, you get to see these horses right up close and personal. What are some of the things that you look for that will solidify your pick?
It kind of depends. You know, sometimes if I'm established at a track for a long time, I can recall what horses looked like the prior race, whether they lost weight, whether their coat looked better last time, or if they look better this time, or even same thing, if I haven't seen a horse for a long time and I see them suddenly at Oaklawn, like, whoa, that horse looks so much better today than he did last time. I tend to rely a lot on that, but when I'm looking at horses for the very first time, I like to see enthusiasm.
Okay.
You know, the way they carry themselves, the way they walk, not too hard on confirmation. You know, the horses have made it to this point of the race already, but just good enthusiasm, happy attitude. Just like when you look at people,
Yeah.
you can tell who's enthusiastic, who's feeling confident.
Great point.
And that's something you really have to look at come race day.
I'm always super jealous of Matt's recall, your ability to do that. I don't remember how many cups of coffee I had this morning, so I am constantly having to make notes after notes after notes, but that's okay. So a really good 12 race card today. We're not done just yet. Let's show you our $20 show bet parlay, our long shots, and our top pick. Matt's going to start it off in the 6th with Mark Cassie's Counting Stars. Rocky Raccoon is a scratch. Also Vital Mind in the 9th, and Liberty National. I've been singing the Liberty Insurance commercial all morning.
too.
Liberty
It's so
Liberty.
easy to get in your head. And now you just got it in my head. So.
I just can't. Liberty Bibberty. So yeah,
Liberty. Imagine the horse. Liberty.
I'm going to start things off in race number 2 with Face Value. Then go Pray for Peace, Vital Mind, and Money Run. No longer is my top pick, or my long shot, excuse me, Hush It Honey. Can't wait to see her back. Runaway Jack is Matt's top long shot play, in the 4th top pick, sponsored by Oaklawn Anywhere. I'm going to start out with the opener, meaning Reckless for the Mark Cassie barn and Vital Mind for race 9 for Matt. We saw pretty much last season. There we go. There's Andy's best bet of the day. 3rd race, number 4, Getting By, and Rancho Santa Fe. I like that. I'd like to see this horse show back up. A little disappointed maybe in the Smarty Jones effort, but, you know, you can give excuses all day long.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we talked about Getting By. I feel like if he's just able to even repeat a little bit of what he does last time, even if he does regress, he still lays over the field. And Rancho Santa Fe, I know he wasn't even in my top 4 picks, but I really think he deserves a second chance. He got the Oaklawn kiss of death, 5 wide in the first turn, fighting the rating. They went slow. He still finished a pretty good 5th. So I wonder if he can work out a better trip today.
He was checking out the hotel.
Yes.
He was checking out
he
the first
was.
turn
Are we
bar.
allowed to use the Oaklawn Kiss of Nancy and I? That
Yes,
phrase?
you may.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're patented. It's just Oaklawn OKD.
Okay.
Yeah. Hotel visit.
Liberty Bibberty Hotel. He went to order room service.
Yeah,
So
that's in the trip notes. We can put that in the comment line in the DRF. Hotel visit. spa
Hotel
visit.
have you
Yes.
heard, and this is a very old phrase, when a horse gets out and really blows the turn, they're going to Pokaloti? Have you heard
never
that?
heard
No.
That's an old person thing, I think. And
You're not old, though.
You're not old.
it's because I colored the gray that my husband gives me.
I've heard lost his compass. I've heard that. Michael
Okay.
Rona has used that. And I said it at Monmouth, going to get a hot dog for one.
Oh, I
hour.
like
Yeah.
that one.
Go and
I
get a
like
hot
that
dog.
one.
That's
Yeah.
They have very good hot dogs at Monmouth.
There used to be a
Side
horse
note.
back in
do.
the day at California named Blowin' to Turn. Anytime that horse would, I'm like, who blew the turn? Who blew the turn? But it was the horse's name. Like that,
And
you're,
he probably was
you're
straight
setting
as
up
an
for
arrow,
you're setting
too.
up for catastrophe doing that. So again, 12 races on the card. Very excited to have the next step towards the Triple Crown. Hot Springs at Oaklawn, we have the richest path towards the Kentucky Derby, and we are very proud of that. So for Matt Dinnerman, Andy Biancone, I'm Nancy Holthus. Good luck and good racing. Liberty Bibberty.